Perfect. And look, the light is gleaming perfectly on your face. So natural contouring there. So Jasmin, just before you came on, I was just letting everyone know what it is that you do. Obviously, you are in Germany, Berlin at the moment, which is exciting.
Staying home safe.
How are things in Germany?
They're actually not that worse. Of course, there were better times, but the government took right decisions that we need to stay home early, so kindergarten closed, school closed, and that's how we kind of flattened the curve. But now they want to open more shops and try to get life a little bit back to more normal. So let's see.
I think it's going to be a situation in whereby it will take longer than I think people are anticipating. It's just not going to be a couple of weeks fix. It's going to be something that's going to last for us for a good few months, to say the least.
Yes. So let's make the most of it.
I was saying, because I just find it fascinating how technology literally can bind us all together. Like I'm sure that you've seen some of the live videos, because I've seen you join to all of them. I know you're very committed. Thank you so much. So you've seen.
Thank you for sharing. You invited all to your living room in the UK, so the thank is yours.
Were you seeing that I've had girls from San Francisco, from literally all over the world, which is so exciting, and you're the first girl that I've had from Germany. So I'm going to ask you a little favor. Now, I didn't prepare you for this, but can you just introduce yourself in German?
Sure. Let's see how many gets then. Ich bin Jasmin, ich wohne in Berlin und Deutsch ist sehr schwierig zu lernen. Und ich bin froh, dass es meine Muttersprache ist.
Woo!
Did you get anything?
No, I only know how to say I, zwei, drei, vier. Is that numbers?
No, actually, I was saying that my name is Jasmin. I live in Berlin. I've got a strange noise. Wait, let's just get that. And
it's fine. We go live and there's technicality issues. It's fine.
That I'm very happy that German is my native tongue.
So they say, I mean, sorry to go completely off subject here, but they say that English and German are...
They are related.
They are. They're like cousins, right?
Yeah, because like the English people, the Anglo-Saxons, come from Germany and they moved phobia, fear of dying, fear of terrorism. So it depends like on their composure. So first we take a look what is behind your fear of flying, because probably you also have another fear in other situations that just expresses differently but has the same root. So if you're probably afraid of giving up control, this also means that it's hard for you to delegate tasks, or that you are horrible next to a driver and want to drive yourself. So this is pretty important. Then it's also important to see and actually write it down so you have it visually as well, what you're afraid of, what you tell yourself. Do you tell yourself, I cannot do it, I'm too stupid, I had a bumpy flight once, and so we take off the basis of this belief. Is it a fact? Do you know that? Do you know that the kind of noise you fear when during takeoff is like really abnormal, or is it just your risk assessment which plays into that? And maybe you reconnected once that you were sweating, that your heart was racing, and then you were during that time on a plane, so you connected, oh, fear and my racing heart is connected to the plane. So, and that's which patterns I scramble during my coaching.
You know, what you've just said is extremely interesting, because I started thinking to myself, there was a time when I guess I was a little bit run down and I was very tired and I was doing a lot of flying. And for a couple of minutes whilst we were in the air, I thought to myself, this plane is man-made, right? Which means it's not perfect. Things can go wrong. And I thought, this plane could just drop. It could just drop right now, all of us, and we can all die. And I started literally freaking out and having an anxiety attack. And then something resonated in me with what you said. Was it the fear of being not in control and thinking of that at that precise moment? And is it also a combination of a fear of dying, a fear of death, which I actually do have? So now that you've said that, I've managed to get that memory that I had and understand why I had it.
It's also another important part is that fear is a very old emotion in our brain, in the reptile brain. That's where the lizard comes in, who watched our stories.
Yes.
Because it's like having a lizard in your brain and telling you, don't do that, it cannot be safe, let's stay in our comfort zone, because the brain is there to protect you and fears your alarm system. And sometimes it goes off in the wrong moments, like smoke detector when you burn toast. It's not a real fire, but it feels like a real alarm, though. So,
and that's what happens when you're having this phobia, right? All these triggers start happening that aren't actually real.
Yeah, you just assess it wrong. For example, you can take the image if like an insurance company would just go by their gut feeling to assess risk, they would be broke in no time, because people are not made to assess risks correctly. That's why you also assess going by car is way more safe, because you do it more often and your subconscious mind would be tired every time you go to a car to trigger that fear. But going by plane is actually way safer, because you have everything at least twice or fourth. You also have like two drivers, pilot and co-pilot, which you don't have in a bus or in a train or in a car. So that's why fear doesn't respond to logic. If I would tell you that in a fearful moment, it wouldn't help you. That's also why my friend was still freaked out when I told her, oh, it's so safe and more people die in car crashes. And she was still freaking out because she was like, we're gonna die. And I was like, no, we don't. So, but at that time I couldn't help her. That's just when I started like to dive into where's it coming from. And having said that, it's way more effective to tell your body there's a way out, because fear is super fast. Either it's fight or flight. But to kind of scramble that, you can take the emotions you had, for example, that you were feeling anxious, stressed, maybe also tired. That all lead to that. So you take the negative emotions and then you say, okay, I don't want to feel them, but I want to focus on something positive. Which positive emotions do I want to have? So when you think back to the situation, which ones would you have desired? Which would have helped you?
Well, you said no drink.
No drink, no. But like a emotion, like would you have been calm, helped you, joy, and stuff like that?
If I would have focused more on the fun I was going to have when I landed at my destination, rather than crippling it with being anxious about dying and not enjoying the full journey, because whether it's a vacation, a holiday, or a work trip that you're going to somewhere exciting, the whole experience should be fun, right? I mean,
yes,
we've touched upon about happiness, about tapping into the happiness within. So everything that we do, we should be mindful that how we do it should trigger happiness within us. And if we're limiting ourselves by not allowing this supply of happiness to come into us, by allowing fear and negativity to stop that, well then it's why do that?
So sometimes it happens that let's say something is not in the correct shelf, so just put it back in the right one and be afraid of tigers, speeding cars,
Right.
but not of normal situations. So you can take, if you said you want to have joy and happiness, you can think back of moments where you experienced this happiness and joy and can make it even more stronger. You make the memory brighter, you see it through your own eyes, and then you take these kind of anchor, it's called, and put it in the situation, and you kind of, then your mind, it cannot distinguish between fake or real, thinks, oh yeah, I feel good right now. This was fun. And so the fear increases, but also what you said, like thinking about where you're going to make your goal super compelling. So you really are attracted to it, that you really embrace it. Like, I'm attending my sister's wedding. It will be a blast, or I will get the new job offer. It will be amazing when I get that. So focusing on that is like shifting your complete mindset, and it makes it way easier for you to stop the fear cycle.
But this is so much more profound. I mean, shifting your mindset, thinking, visualizing about positive outcomes and feeling them, believing them, in order to be able to trick your brain into not being afraid of flying, can be used for anything, right?
Yes.
This is like the most powerful thing, because our brain is so incredibly powerful. And what do we use? Do we use something like 5 or 10% of our brains only?
Yeah.
Okay, which is such a small portion, right? So imagine if we were able to just train our brains to think in a high, motivated, energetic state at all times. The things that we could achieve, right?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's also the subconscious mind is way more powerful. So that's why I do kind of a meditation journey after the coaching session. So the subconscious mind can implement what it just has learned. So then it falls everything back, like that you feel the emotions that you want to have, and that your brain can access this way more fast than usual.
So for those that have just joined in and you use the word subconscious, now this is something that gets thrown about all the time, and we'd like to think that everyone understands it, but I think you'd be surprised that not many people truly understand what the subconscious is and what it does and what it means. How would you clarify and break it down to people listening to you right now?
Probably a lot of people have seen a picture of an iceberg, which also probably sank the Titanic. Like, it looked small on the surface, which could be described as the conscious mind,
Right.
which deals with day-to-day decisions and is like a very small part. And then you have the subconscious mind, and there everything goes that you have learned, that you have experienced, or your memories or your emotions are in the subconscious mind. That's why it's so powerful. And that's also why it doesn't work when you treat fears just on the conscious level, because the roots are in the subconscious mind. So there you need to go, there you need to shift patterns, there you need to embrace change, basically. And it's really great because your subconscious mind is always listening. So you can put up an affirmation and just pass it by your bathroom mirror twice or several times a day, and it just digs in your subconscious mind. Or a vision board does the same job. So it's very powerful, and I was surprised that I haven't used it, or it's not taught at school, and because it's so powerful and it can make all the difference, and you can achieve greater results in less time.
Jasmine, it's crazy because there are so many things that if you actually sit and think about how schools education is bizarre, what things get taught to kids these days. I mean, you don't get taught how to hustle and make money and be independent and start your own business and make it successful, and how to pitch, etc. You don't get taught these things at school. You don't get taught, like you said, about your subconscious and about affirmations and about positivity and mental gratitude, etc. I don't understand why we aren't teaching these things to kids nowadays.
Yeah, and it kind of takes effort to get these things. That's why it's very important to me just to spread it. When I got to know it 3 years ago, it turned my life around. It was like, what did I do 27 years before? Why I was afraid of the kind of fear that I had for so long.
You found yourself.
Yeah, it just clicked. It doesn't mean that I don't have any bad days. It doesn't mean that my inner critic shows up and says, good morning, let's stay in bed all day, let's keep our main job, we shut down our own business. This happened to me too. So it's not that you don't have it anymore, but it's about that you can exit it way more fast, and that you can always tap into happiness, joy, and the positive emotions that bring much more fun.
Would you, for those that are interested and want to read more about their subconscious and and how to really understand what's going on underneath at the surface, would you recommend any book? Because Sigmund Freud comes to mind. I don't know if that's something that you would recommend people to study, because I know that his theories were a little bit far out there and could actually frighten people.
So also, like, when you're a Netflixer, you probably have seen Freud or have seen that there's a new show.
I did. I did turn on and watch episode 1, and I love Sigmund Freud. I actually believe that a lot of his theories are just completely spot on. And so I pressed play, and it was the voiceover that upset me, because I was just like, his mouth was moving, but the
voiceover was not. Okay, we kind of watched it obviously in German. So all the other shows I watch in English, but when there's a German origin, it's kind of better. However, if you still watch it,
down that road, and you're going far and deep, and it will be dark and it will be gloomy. So it's really important to be responsible and mature about how you use your thoughts, right? Because if we just let ourselves go, then our brain can take us in all different directions, right?
Yeah, it's a thing of practice as well. It doesn't take much, and it doesn't take like reading piles of books and saying it has been a great year and I remember everything or stuff like that. So these little things make the biggest impact. Also, when you just focus on your breath, how often do we do that? Like, just slowly inhale and exhale and all the tension goes, because not just the body just doesn't follow the brain, but it's also vice versa. So when you relax your body, you also relax your brain, which comes in handy when you are afraid to.
That's amazing. I was also thinking, sorry, my mind's gone wild with regards to the jar. I'm loving this. I was actually even thinking an affirmation jar.
That's also nice. I created one too, so maybe I can put some on my Instagram, and then you can just screenshot it. And because I picked every day an affirmation from the jar in the morning I woke up, and this was kind of my message for the day. If something negative came up, I always remembered the affirmation. So this is also a way how you can shift it easily without any effort, and you don't have to think, oh, what was my most favorite affirmation? I can't remember now. But then you have this one sentence which guides you through the day, and also probably shifts your focus more on your family, more on gratitude, or which affirmation you chose.
I absolutely love that. Waking up in the morning, going to my jar, not to get a cookie, but to get
something, food for the brain.
Not to get a cookie, because because I need to go on a diet, but to actually go into my jar, pick up a piece of paper, open it up, and it can say anything like, I am beautiful, or I am kind, or I can make a success of anything I put my mind to. Things like that are just so uplifting, especially if you do it first thing in the morning when you've just woken up, and you're more susceptible to things, right?
And you carry it through all the day, and it's super great. And when you carry it through all the day, you carry it also in your sleep. So it goes back in your subconscious mind, is stored there, and then you do the positive cycle the next day again.
Love it, love it, love it. I feel like everyone should do an affirmation jar for sure. So Jasmin, we're coming up to the point of in the interview where it's my question that I ask everyone, and I do it because I just love to see the person that I'm speaking with, what is that beauty inside of them, and which I'm sure there are many, but I just find that this one question will just kind of leave it on one note, and that is, if you were to have a magic wand and you could change just one thing in the world to make it a better place, what would that be?
I think I would put that people pay more attention to gratitude, because for me it's the source of everything. And when you're grateful for what you have, especially now, we have all a home, running water, food, which is not given to all of us. But if we would be more grateful what we have, we would also be more willing to share and like not put competition first, but also like now helping each other, supporting each other. And it really bothers me that here food goes to waste just to keep the prices high, and where somewhere else on the planet people are starving. So if you would just appreciate what you have, you would be more willing as well to share it with others and take more care of the environment, of animals, on rights of equality. Because when you appreciate your freedom of speech, you're also more focused on, oh, somebody else is lacking it, this shouldn't be the case, or I appreciate the salary that I get, but someone else is maybe paying less for the same job. So if you're grateful about all the things you have, it's not like you don't put yourself first that much. It's just like appreciating all the little things that you have, that your family is healthy and that you're healthy and everything is great. So I really wish that people would keep that in mind, to be grateful about everything they have.
That's absolutely beautiful, Jasmin, and so spot on, because I genuinely believe, and you can even find this on YouTube and on Google, that really one of the major keys to success is gratitude. You can't be successful without being grateful. It just doesn't work. It's like, how do you make pasta? Well, you need the pasta and you need the hot water in order to be able to boil pasta and to make it, right? It's just, it is what it is. You have to be grateful for everything that has happened to you, for the love that you have, because there's always someone somewhere that doesn't have it, and we can't take that for granted.
And even not just the positive sides, but also the setbacks, because otherwise, sometimes a setback is just aiming you at a different direction. So all the setbacks I had, which I was upset about, cried about, they led me somewhere else, somewhere more beautiful. So it's also gratitude and taking in what happens to you and assess the situation. Even if it's worse for you, it might be even worse for somebody else.
Right.
Someone else might always have it better, but comparison is not helping you to look where your path is going. It's just looking at where the path of someone else is going. And so all the setbacks also have a positive side, and it's very important not to get lost in the negative one, but to see what it's good for.
Absolutely agree. And I think how you've just worded that is really, really outstanding and really, really good. I just want to say, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for responding to me when I reached out to you. And
Thank you for reaching out. I've been following you a long time. And especially like when I have these kind of negative moments and then I see you in my feed, I'm like, okay, it's worse, keep going, and there's a tribe, and just stick to it.
Absolutely. Well, it makes me, it's music to my ears to hear that, you know, the self-made girl boss page does kind of give some sort of uplift to the women. And I've heard lots of comments that, you know, they like the content that's being put on there. And, you know, there are moments when I'm doing it when I'm thinking, is anyone actually listening? Does anyone actually care? And
We do. Keep going.
and you do, and that makes me so happy. So when I reached out and you responded and you jumped on it straight away and you sent me that article and you were like, yes, let's have a live interview. Thank you so much. And do you know what? This conversation today hasn't, because there's people out there that will say, you know, I've just logged on and I actually don't have a fear of flying. Like, I'm fine with that. So let me log out. I like to think that people stayed on because they could apply that formula of being able to shift, you know, negative thoughts and attaching them to positive thoughts that you've had experienced before, to be able to get yourself buzzing and in that happy state of mind, right? So I owe that to you and to your knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you for providing the space.
Amazing. So please keep in touch, which I know that you will, and I'll be definitely keeping in touch with you. I want to send you lots of kisses and
thank you.
love, and good luck with
lots of love back. Have a wonderful Sunday. Thanks everyone for watching, and you can also hop on to my channel and I will put some affirmations out so that we start that day right.
And your Instagram page, if you just like to just say it so that people know where they need
It's a unique impact, but unique like you, because it's all about the other person.
Amazing. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care, darling.
Talk to you.